Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to Ocala Talks on a warm, muggy Tuesday morning. I'm your host, Tom Schmitz, coming to you from the studios of WOCA Radio, just off the runway at the Ocala International Airport in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. Intern Natalie's here and ready to go. Galen, on the phone with us, as he is every day, brought to you by the good folks at Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, Penn Flooring, and JustShip.net. Galen, good morning to you.
Hey, what's going on, Tom? How are you today?
I want to make sure that any kind of correspondence between you and I don't get leaked.
Well,
that could be a problem. That could be a problem.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? And this is one of those stories that...
We, of course, Galen's phone's cutting out on us.
The whole thing with the Supreme Court leaking.
Yeah, your phone's cutting out on us. But, yeah, this is...
I'm sorry.
This is a decision, a internal memo about how Judge Alito, and it seems other people, other justices, are leaning towards a decision about a Mississippi case concerning abortion. And Politico has gotten this internal memo and posted it, and people are saying that the Supreme Court's fixing to strike down the federal protection of abortion, the Roe versus Wade decision from 1973. My first thing when I heard this was, without getting into the discussion about abortion, that's a whole different discussion. My first thought when I heard this was, who in the hell at the Supreme Court's going to prison?
Right. No, I think that you're absolutely right, because that's we kind of expect this from Congress and the Senate and the House and even the President's office. I mean, we expect there to be leakers. This is unheard of. It's unprecedented. You'll hear that a lot today. But you're right. I think it just really comes down to Roberts. It seems like everything that Bush did turned out pretty bad, by the way. Can we just say that? Like George Bush too?
George W.
Everything he did turned out. George W. It just came out bad. I don't think anybody likes Justice Roberts. I mean, no one. I don't even know if his wife likes him at this point.
I literally, when I saw this story, I started looking in, reading stuff about it now, and I thought, is this really the other 5 conservative justices telling John Roberts, you may have the word Chief Justice on your name, but we're in charge?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And a decision like this, an event like this, is perfect for Twitter, because you can. And this is a day in which I'm glad to be on it. I'm glad Elon Musk's owned it, because you can instantly go on, and you can get every possible view of an opinion and thought on the subject like this and how it came out and everything that revolves around it fairly quickly. And I think that's a remarkable use of Twitter. And you know me, I am not a big fan of social media. But I think an event like this is when Twitter is at its best.
Well, this is definitely, the FBI is already looking into this. This is...
Well, they haven't said it yet.
Yeah, a news report.
Justice Roberts could say that.
A news report this morning said that the FBI was already looking into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some wild theories out there.
Well, here's my issue. The Supreme Court, for the checks and balances to work, the Supreme Court has to be above reproach, and they have to make sure that they don't let anything, technically anything sway their opinions. They're supposed to be objective about everything.
They have to be above that public pressure and above that public consensus and that mob mentality that we can get in this country.
But
this goes back to a lot more rulings than just this one. This goes back to Brown versus Board of Education. This goes back to. There's been a lot of.
It goes back to Marbury versus Madison. It could call into question how every decision's made and the way it's looked at and everything. This is a body of 9 people that is not supposed to be involved in this kind of situation, this political situation. Because let's be very honest here. This is all about politics now. This leaking and all is all about politics.
That's interesting. I think the leaking is. I don't know if the decision is.
No.
I
The leaking is all about politics.
Leaking is politics. Sure. And again, the situation that I think this is very interesting, and you and I are both on the same side, is all this really does is give the power and the authority of an issue like abortion back to the states. And that's what we're all for. You and I are for that. We believe that the states have the right to make this decision.
100% I do. But it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with
the Constitution.
But it has nothing to do with this issue.
Agreed.
See, that's where people are going to get hung up. People think that I think that abortion, that I'm deciding that states should decide abortion because I'm against abortion. That has nothing to do with it. States, the federal government, we've talked about this, the federal government should be very small and very limited.
Right.
There's
no constitutional protection for abortion. It's just not there.
No. In my opinion, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Well, there's no place for it. There's nowhere place for it.
Well, because but now the other side of that coin, people will argue with you. Yeah, because there was no way founding forefathers could ever foresee medical advancements to the point where this could be a choice women have.
Well, and I would argue that everybody has a right to life. That's life is a basic right. And that's right. But again, I think abortion always falls on where you believe conception starts.
Right, exactly.
That usually, and Roe v. Wade, they were unable to make that decision, which is why it was such bad law for so long. But I think this just opens up. Maybe we're getting away from federalism and going back to states' rights. And more of a republic, which is the way we were supposed to be founded. Where,
well, remember,
the states have more control.
Remember that the individual states, the way the founding forefathers wrote the Constitution, was that the Constitution is only effective if it has the support of each individual state. And each individual state gave their support to the federal government because they wanted the clear distinction that there were a very finite amount of things the federal government made decisions on, and everything else was up to the states. Everything.
Right. That's correct.
And the federal government has, and by the way, with the help of the Supreme Court at times, has gotten to where the federal government is the focal point and the states are no longer the focal point. And that was never the intention of the founding fathers. I can go back and pull up the Madison Papers and everything and show you that was never the agreement. Because the state, remember, they compromised 13 colonies to become a state. The states made compromising situations to create the federal government. They didn't ever want a central federal government. They wanted to come once a year to a meeting from all the states and spend 3 or 4 months just hashing out what needed to be done. And each individual state wanted itself heard. And the founding forefathers realized that if we do that and we continue to grow, you're never going to get anything done as a group. You might as well just be 50 countries like Europe is.
Sure.
And so it was very, the Constitution's a very intelligent piece of paper. But the Constitution also was written in 1788 and 1789 and may not have had 2021 or 2022 in its thoughts when it was written. You know, the well-formed militia was supposed to deal with muskets. They didn't envision anti-aircraft weapons.
But they did. I don't want to get into that one. That's a huge sidetrack. But they did envision federal tyranny in the government.
Of course they did. Of course they did. And that's why that goes back to states' rights. That way you can't have federal tyranny.
So, and a lot of people believe that the Constitution was created, with 2 sessions of Congress, right? That it was written, in a very brief time. And in fact, it has been a document that has been really
it's still being written.
Created over a lifetime.
It's still being written.
The one that was originally ratified was written over a lifetime. right? Over thousands of years of philosophy.
It takes into parts of the Magna Carta into it. It adopted parts of the Articles of the Confederation, even though the Articles of the Confederation were complete garbage. It adopted some of the Articles of Confederation. It is still a living, breathing document that evolves on a case-by-case basis according to the Supreme Court now. And that's why this is so alarming to me, that these private internal memos that are part of the, when justices hear arguments, then they argue with each other to bang out these decisions. And to leak these kind of memos, which is really an argument memo before a decision's passed down, undermines the court and undermines the U.S. Constitution.
That's exactly right. And the Senate, the Supreme Court is a pillar, right? And it stands alone, and it has to stand alone. It has to be that powerful entity. And today it got weakened. I think we can all agree with that, because Justice Kavanaugh, he already had to have protection 24 hours a day. I'm sure his house is going to be a mess today.
I wouldn't want to be a justice. I wouldn't want to be a justice this morning at all. We got to take a break. We'll be right back after this timeout. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Are you or your loved one being released from a hospital and wondering how you'll manage? Inform your physician that you want to go to Palm Garden of Ocala at 2700 Southwest 34th Street for your rehabilitation. Palm Garden provides pain management, post-discharge follow-up, diabetic care, psychosocial support, and so much more. Plus, they even offer outpatient rehab. This award-winning care facility has a team of licensed professionals dedicated to enhancing your independence. Call 352-854-6262 today.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages and going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
It's Blockers Furniture Memorial Sale going on the entire month of May. Beautiful two-piece sectional starting as low as $19 per month. Sofas for as little as $10 per month. Kick back in a new recliner for as little as $11 per month. Plus, you can save up to $700 off the Ashley Reeling Queen Bed and Dresser Mirror Set. And save 25% off all outdoor furniture. Mattresses starting at only $3.99. See it, buy it, take it home. It's Blockers Furniture Memorial Sale going on the entire month of May. Blockers Furniture, 2402 Southwest College Road, Ocala.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Tuesday. Talking about the leaked memo from the Supreme Court that Politico made public in the early morning of today, and there's already protests taking place on both sides of the issue at the Supreme Court this morning. I saw a news report on CBS where both sides have already rallied at the steps of the Supreme Court. Galen Unal joins us from Life South. He does every day, brought to you by Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, JustShip.net, and Penn Flooring. Galen, the other side of this coin is a lot of people say, see, these kind of situations are exactly why you don't need lifetime appointments. Because, every now and then, justices will change the way the court looks at things, but you need to, every now and then, every 15 or 20 years, put a new justices in there switch out so that fresh eyes get to look at individual issues and can maybe evolve or move forward or move back, however you want to look at it. But the reason they were there for lifetime appointments is because that way they were not supposed to be influenced by any one person or political party and all.
Correct.
Because their jobs were secure. They couldn't be removed. That worked in the 1700s and the 1800s. Why is it now, do we even feel like we need to label justices conservative justices or liberal justices? Why can't they just be justices of the court? Nobody know what their political affiliation. That's where I think we went wrong in this country, is in the late 30s and early 40s, starting to label justices. That was not ever the intention of the founding forefathers, to place a political definition on a justice.
No, you're dead on about that. But you said something really interesting, why it shouldn't be a lifetime appointment. If you go back, you can go all the way back to Carter, I think, is the last president who didn't name at least one Supreme Court justice. I think that's right. That's off the top of my head. But I believe that's correct. You can Google it. And so if you were to have a rotation, kind of like we do in the Senate, or, maybe it's a 15 years, so that would mean that entire presidential election would be what Trump's was. And Trump got elected for a large reason because of the Supreme Court, right? Because he came out and said, this is my list of people I will nominate for the Supreme Court. And during his 4-year tenure, he got 2, right? Biden's gotten 1. And Obama, I think, got 1. And then it goes from there. But I think it's important that if you were to do that, if you were to do a 15-year or a 20-year instead of a lifetime, it instantly becomes more political, not less.
There's only been 4 presidents in the history not to appoint a Supreme Court justice.
Right, and that's my point. And therefore, it is a very spread out thing. And I think that's good when we get those moderate judges, right? The reason that nobody likes Justice Roberts is because he's down the middle. Would you say that's fair?
Well,
and he was nominated with. He was nominated when basically George Bush was a lame duck president.
If you ask
George W. Bush.
But I bet if you could go back in time, and I know we can't. We don't have a time machine. Although Bill and Ted, where are you? I need you. But if we could go back in time and let the founding forefathers look at the makeup of the court right now, they would say the only justice that embodies what their idea was is John Roberts.
Oh, I disagree.
No, because he's because he's down the middle. They wanted the most objective justices. John Jay said as much.
What they wanted is for, and again, I've read some of John Jay's writing, and it all depends on which view you take. John Jay believed that the Constitution, that it should take a monumental effort to to change it.
Yes.
Right? That was his whole thing. So the only person who really is a constitutionalist down the line is Clarence Thomas. Now, people call him conservative because of that, right? He's a constitutionalist more than he is a conservative. And that is an.
But in this day and age, in this day and age, where politics play into it, and you're given a moniker of conservative or liberal, John Roberts is the most down the middle of the Supreme Court justices, and that was the design of the Supreme Court, was to be the referee, to not take either side, but to be the referee. And the Supreme Court, since 1973, when it was a very liberal court, since the early 70s, it has not been a down-the-middle referee court. It's been a conservative or liberal siding court, not a down-the-middle referee court. And that's the design. The design was to be a referee, not to have an agenda or support of either side.
Well, let me just chime in with one thing. The justices themselves don't make it conservative. It's people's view of them, right? Because, again, if you view Clarence Thomas as a conservative, that's your problem. Because Clarence Thomas, as I said, is a constitutionalist and doesn't believe that you should be, they don't believe that they should write law from the bench, right? Some justices have said that. They believe that they should have the right to write law and to change law. And that's how we got the ruling like Roe v. Wade. So it all depends on your view of what the Supreme Court is supposed to be. It's not an activist arm. I agree with you. You're supposed to be a referee, but you're not supposed to be a referee on popular opinion or left or right. You're supposed to protect the Constitution and whether something is constitutionally allowable.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's the difference.
Right, and here's the thing. John Roberts thinks by being objective and being right down the middle that he's doing that exact thing. So
hold on. Right down the middle of what, Tom? Hold on. Right down the middle of
John
what?
Roberts doesn't
right down the middle of society?
John,
is he right down the middle of the Constitution? Because he's supposed to be right down the middle of the Constitution, not society.
But constitutionalists,
That's my argument.
but constitutionalists will tell you he's not. But that's their perception of John Roberts.
I disagree with that. When you look at John Roberts' ruling, he falls on the Constitution 9 out of 10 times. The only one that I think he really stretched the border was the Obamacare, right? When he said that the federal government had that ability to make a tax. And even then you can go back and you can look at previous rulings and say, okay, they've already deemed that the federal government's allowed to make a taxing agency.
Right.
Okay, I can live with that. But that's it. That's on the constitutional. Everything else, you're putting your opinion on if you don't go back to the Constitution itself as the base. The reason the court has become liberal or conservative is because of the outside pressures that are put on them.
Which should not enter into their thoughts at all.
Agreed.
And yet it does all the time.
Well, now where the problem, I understand your point, and I agree with it. But the difference is that I really don't know much about any of these people other than when you get them on TV in a live session when they're being interviewed by other senators, right? And the senators with the nominating party always go easy and say how I think it's shameful that you're having to be answering these questions. I think it's shameful that you're having to define what a woman is, or I think it's shameful that you're being treated by somebody who doesn't even know how many doors were in the house of a place that you got gang raped at. Right? Those are the two issues. And it's society that's making it political, not the justices themselves.
You know, up until the mid-20th century, these proceedings were not public.
Well, and that's my point. Why are they public, Tom?
They shouldn't be.
I don't know if that's, I don't know. I believe in transparency in all levels. What I believe is that the senators need to quit making this an opportunity to make points with their base.
Well, and they're going to continue. They're going to do that. Both sides are going to do that constantly.
And that's the problem. And that inherently.
They don't ask. They don't ask questions. They don't ask questions. You know, like the. I'll give you a prime example. Okay, Sonia Sotomayor. She was, when you look at her record and everything, people go, well, she voted this way, that way, this way, that way. Sonia Sotomayor was a very capable justice.
Of course.
Who one side didn't like because she didn't agree with their ideals, according to them. One side loved because she agreed with their ideals. If you go back and listen to her confirmation hearings, they asked some of the most asinine questions. I literally, it could, any justice, you could fill in any justice here. Clarence Thomas, John Roberts, any justice, but I'm just. Sotomayor, when I watched that.
Got 100% of the Senate's vote.
I know. That's my point. That's why I brought her up. Is she got a landslide vote to let her in, but if you go back and listen to her confirmation hearings, it was like the NFL was asking rookies those dumb questions. And when everybody respected her, knew that she was going to get confirmed by a large number, there were still people, to make sure their constituents were happy with them, asking some asinine questions. Go back and watch her. Go back. I always said when she got put in on the bench, I go, for so many people to vote yes for her, but the questions that they asked her beforehand had nothing to do with her abilities. It had to do with they were in front of the cameras saying, see, people at home, this is why you vote for me, because I asked these tough questions.
Sure. Well, and she wasn't 100%. Somebody texted me. Apparently, it was 68 to 31.
It was like 70 to 30 or something like that. Yeah.
68 to 31, according to the texter, and I believe this person. So again, I think your question is valid. How do we make the court apolitical? How do we?
Because that's its design.
Right, but how? But I get it. That's
you want to be a strict constitutionalist. You want to be a strict constitutionalist. Constitutionalist says the Supreme Court is apolitical. That the Constitution does say.
So how do you? That politics has been put on it since the 1930s. And how do you return it back to that apolitical system?
Well, that is the $64,000 question. We blew by the way, we blew through the news. We blew through the news break. We'll be right back after this timeout.
That's what the news is going to talk about.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA. The Source.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune in to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors, Sunday mornings at 8 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors.
Our firm offers insurance services.
The Golden Spoon Diner and Seafood Restaurant, a true New York-style diner in Ocala. Try our breakfast special of 2 eggs served with home fries or hash browns and toast for just $4.49. We have an all-you-can-eat catfish special daily for $14.99, and Thursday through Sunday we have prime rib. Happy hour for food starts at 2 p.m. The Golden Spoon Diner and Seafood Restaurant is located at 5400 Southwest College Road in the Heathbrook Commons Plaza. Open daily from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. We will see you soon. Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics, now with offices in Ocala and the Villages. Hey everybody, this is Tom Schmitz. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biological therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissues in your joints with lasting results. If you got pain in your knees, your shoulders, hips, back like I do, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. That's right, no surgery. Don't go through another year with that awful joint pain, and don't let them put you under the knife. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. There's offices in Ocala and the Villages, so give them a call, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550.
Hey there, Congresswoman Kat Kamak here, your conservative voice in our nation's capital. I'm so proud to be an advocate for the over 65,000 veterans here in North Central Florida. The new Ocala VA clinic is now open, providing important primary care and specialty services. If you're a veteran in the Ocala area, thank you for your service. Feel free to get in touch with our team by visiting us online at camac.house.gov. I'm Kat Kamak, and it is my honor to serve you.
This ad is paid for by official funds authorized by the U.S. House of Representatives.
Hey, do you know there's a real Italian bakery right here in Ocala? Yeah, it's the Magnolia Italian Bakery, where you get the best Italian specialties. Remember, Mother's Day is this Sunday, so call and order now. Italian and New York cheesecakes, fresh-made cannolis, cream puffs, eclair, and even custom cakes. We cater big and small events. Get your lunch or dinner, Italian subs, eggplant parm, lasagna, meatball and sausage subs. They're all made fresh just for you. Call ahead, 352-207-2667. Manja and God bless.
Springtime means Mother's Day and unbeatable prices on made-for-mom gifts. Like ladies' Lincoln Outfitters Bermuda shorts, starting at $15.99 a pair. Or assorted 10-inch premium hanging flower baskets, just $14.99 each. Or save $10 on our replica whiskey barrel planters, now only $9.99. Get them at RuralKing.com or your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Tuesday. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin will be here taking your questions about your gardens, your lawns, everything like along those lines. On the phone lines with us right now is Galen, from Life South. He's brought to you every day by Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offer skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you have any questions how they're handling the COVID pandemic, give them a call at 352-854-6262. We'd also like to thank family-owned and operated Penn Flooring, serving Marion County for over 30-plus years. Penn Flooring is a full-service flooring company dedicated to finding the best solution for your flooring needs. They have experience in both commercial and residential flooring. Go see their fantastic studio, their showroom, at 1201 Southwest 17th Street here in Ocala, or give them a call at 352-351-3420. And, of course, we'd like to thank JustShip.net. Not only will they come to your home and pick your item up and take it and box it up and ship it for you, they also now have a brick-and-mortar storefront where you can actually drop your item off for Just Ship to package it up and ship it out for you. It's at 811 North Magnolia. That's JustShip.net. Galen, we got to switch gears here because we got lots more to talk about. And we've been talking about the Supreme Court ruling and all, this leaked memo of the Supreme Court. Now, that brings me to the second part of the issue here, and it's not about what the court's decisions are or anything. It's how important is it for the psyche of the country, really, to make sure that whoever did this leak faces whatever justice is deemed necessary. Because this, to me, this is Eric Snowden and the NSA. This is much bigger. To me, this is a much bigger issue than that. People go, well, Tom, that's national security. This is constitutional security. This is the law we act under that is being undermined by these kind of leaks, because you got to have this kind of ability to send memos back and forth and make your arguments without worrying about whether they're going to be leaked to the press or not.
Well, this is going to really test some people's mettle, and let's just say, for example, let me just throw out an example. The rumors out there that the clerk for Sotomayor is the one who leaked it, right? There's some pretty strong evidence to support that, at least anecdotally. But let's just say it's this guy, and it's a very liberal person who leaked it with the sole intention of doing nothing more than disrupting the vote.
Right, undermining the court.
So what happens? Is there a full-fledged investigation? Is he prosecuted? Or does it fall down political lines? It's going to be a test. It's a test of our democracy.
The problem is, when you said, is whoever's deemed, if they can prove who did this, are they going to be prosecuted and held accountable, or is it going to fall down political lines?
Irregardless of political affiliation.
Or is it going to fall down political lines? And I immediately go, well, that's just a dumb question. We know it's going to fall down political lines.
Well, then we're in trouble.
We're in bad trouble, and that's my point with this.
But there's already there are already people coming out and elected officials saying that whoever leaked this is a hero. That's what you're going to hear.
And that's the problem. That's an issue.
Because
this person's not a hero.
He's on my team, right? But he's on my team.
Right.
He's a hero.
And by the way, so everybody knows what side I'm on this issue. I'm Catholic, so I personally don't think abortion's right. But I'm also a man, and I'm not carrying a baby to gestation. So I think I need to shut the hell up and let women decide this. That's just my opinion.
I hate that.
That's my opinion.
I hate that argument.
But regardless whether you hate it or not, that's where I'm at. I don't care.
And the reason I hate this argument
because
is
it takes two to make a baby. I get that.
That's correct.
But I knew it took two to make a baby, so I made sure that I took care of my thing, so I didn't have to have a baby. I took care of my things and kept them in line, so I didn't have a baby. Okay. And you're right.
That's what you're supposed
you're
to
right.
do.
Women, people on the left will tell you it's all a women's choice. The man should have no choice in it. That's a whole different argument whether I agree with abortion or not. My argument is I don't think I need a say in it. That's just my opinion. But I don't have kids and didn't want kids.
Right.
So I didn't want that decision in the first place.
Well, then if that's the case, I believe that it should be a joint decision. The man, once that baby's born, irregardless of what his thoughts are, he has to take care of that child for the rest of his life. According to the court system.
First off, don't ever use that word again.
What?
That word that's not even a word, but the dictionary has now made it a word because so many people use it. It's regardless. It's regardless. That's it.
I forgot that's one of your triggers.
Ugh. That and first annual will get you. I'll hang up on you. Hang up on you.
But my point is still the same. I think I think we should all protect life.
No, by the way, I know that people think. I know that people think my position on that's a cop out, and I'm totally okay with that.
But again, and I fall on this very simply. It all depends on where you think life begins. Does it begin in the day that baby takes its first breath, or is it upon conception? And it all depends on you.
See, exactly. I tell a stand-up joke. People say, "Are you scared of dying?" And I go, "I started dying the day the doctor slapped me on the ass." To me, that's just my thought. That's where it begins for me. But I understand the argument that as soon as there's a heartbeat, that's life. Stuff like that. I get that. I get what people. I understand the different arguments. My problem is my opinion and your opinion shouldn't have any sway on the justices, and we shouldn't have any sway on the justices. And with this kind of leak and everything, it draws into question the effectiveness of the court. And whoever did it should be punished to the furthest extent the law will allow them to be punished. And I'm afraid it won't be because it will fall down on political lines.
Yeah, and again, I agree with you. I mean, that's a much bigger issue that should be discussed.
Regardless of what you think, whether you're for or against abortion, we should all be against these kind of leaks.
Agreed. 100% agree.
Because it undermines the court. And somebody goes, "But Tom, transparency, we need to know." No, you don't need to know the internal arguments back and forth. That's how they reach decisions.
And by the way, all of those are eventually released. The notes that they take.
Everything is released once the decision is released. Once the opinion's released.
Down the line.
Yeah. Everything you can go read exactly what every justice wrote in private notes from 1973. But you don't need to read it before the decision's made.
This is the equivalent of if there's a massive court, right, and the jury is still deliberating, but all of a sudden you release the jury notes to the public.
100%.
It's the exact.
Because that's what the Supreme Court is. The Supreme Court is a 9-member jury
right.
to decide cases between the legislative branch and the why can't I say it right now? No, the judicial is the Supreme Court. The legislative and it's not presidential, but you know what I mean. Executive branch.
I know.
The executive branch.
You got me all messed up.
I know. So that's the Supreme Court's job, to play jury. And you undermine the jury's ability to sit and deliberate when you leak their notes.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So
and again, I think this is going to be an interesting turn on states' rights. What else gets turned over to states' rights? And a lot of people are like, oh, they're going to ban gay marriage. No, but the court may come out and say the federal government doesn't care who you marry. It's not a.
Here's my problem. Here's my problem with the next thing. Okay, if one state if one state stays with abortion, one state doesn't stay with abortion, you can go across state line and get an abortion. Okay,
one of the rulings is that you won't be allowed to do that. There's a case that's coming up through the Supreme Court that's trying to stop that very thing, and that you can't have one out of state. Now, I think that'll be protected under state.
Yeah, of course it will.
There's that states intercom.
The intercommerce, right? Exactly. So that's going to be. Right. But my problem is, if they go after gay marriage, one state will approve it. One state says we won't recognize it. Because it's not commerce. Again, there is no commerce involved. With an abortion, there's commerce involved because money changes hands to get the procedure. With gay marriage, there's no money that changes hands except for your licensing fee, and then a state can say, we don't recognize that.
Well, maybe if they did this, it would eliminate any tax credits that you get from being married. I don't believe the federal government has anything to do with my marriage, or your marriage, or anybody else's marriage. I just don't think they have a role to play in that. That's between you and your own God and that other person.
Well, somebody put a meme out yesterday that said, marriage makes no sense. And it said, because why do I have to ask the government's permission to marry you? And that was my stance for the longest time. Look, Susan, the reason Susan and I got a marriage license and filed it with the court is because Susan says we have to make it legal. Because I was like, look, I'll marry you right now. But why do I have to ask Marion County's permission to marry you? I still don't understand that. To this day, I still don't understand. Nobody's been able to give me the right reason, except for that's another way for us to tax you because we get your money for the licensing. That's the only thing I can come up with why Marion County or why the state of Florida or why the federal government thinks they need to sanction my marriage.
It goes back to civil rights, and it was the way the counties could control interracial marriage.
I understand why it was done. Right.
Any religious marriages, right? You didn't want to have a Catholic from Italy marry an Irish person who was a Protestant. That's what it goes back to. And by the way, that didn't end until the 60s, with the Voting Act. Yeah. This is a bit. My parents had to go to the south of the border to get married.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues in this.
So.
And again, that was a bad. That was a good court ruling. So it was a bad law.
It was. It was a bad law. So, but I hope that whoever did this, whoever's responsible for this leak, faces maximum penalties. But I'm afraid they will not, because it'll be down political lines. Exactly. Hey, exactly. Something I want to talk. Switch gears completely away from politics, or is it about politics? It was announced officially, although you've known it for a year and a half. It was announced officially this week that not are they trying to join, but Porsche will officially join. I believe it's 2026, I think. They will officially join your favorite F1. I was amazed.
Correct.
I was amazed that one of the best sports car manufacturers in history wasn't part of F1 already.
Well, they have been in the past. They have a pretty rich tradition in it, and it's Porsche. It's not Porsche. It's Porsche.
Whatever. I can't afford
my
one.
pet peeve.
I can't afford one. Oh, okay. It's your pet peeve.
19
Porsche.
months. 19 months. Yeah. And basically what's happening is F1 has become a very, very expensive sport. And so what they've done in 2026, they're going to freeze the engine. And it'll be the last time that you can implement a new power plant into the car. It's a hybrid right now. And so once they freeze it, it'll become more economical to operate within the F1 sphere. So there's a couple of rumors out there that they may partner with the Alfa Romeo team, or they may partner with the Red Bull team. I'm hoping they don't partner with Red Bull because I can't stand that team. But it'll happen in 2026, and it's the VW group. And so they may have two engines. One's an Audi, and one's a Porsche because Porsche owns both of those. So it's a pretty remarkable movement within the F1 clan. So I'm excited about it because I love Porsche. You know, Senna, my favorite driver, had a Porsche engine in the back of his McLaren for years. The Williams had a Porsche engine. So I love this. I absolutely love this.
The only thing I know about Porsche is Tom Cruise. Porsche. There is no substitute.
Hey, well, there's one other thing. I want to be very clear that if you have a Porsche and it has more than two doors, you don't drive a Porsche.
So what you're saying is the Cayenne doesn't count.
That is not. It's how many doors does it have, Tom?
It's an SUV. That in itself rules it out, in my opinion.
If you have a four-door Porsche, it's not a Porsche. It's an Audi, and it just has Porsche badges.
Right. Just like
in some cases they borrow a Porsche engine, but the SUV has different tires, but it's an Audi SUV.
Right. Just like
you're wasting money.
Just like Ford has wasted its money making Mustang an SUV. How stupid is that?
Yeah. I can't tell you. You take arguably the second most iconic brand in the automotive industry in the world. You take that, the Mustang, it means something. And then you say, oh, okay, here, Mom, go load up the groceries and the soccer gear and go pick up the kids. That's what you've done. And by the way, if you buy one of these vehicles, you are the problem. You're not part of the problem. You are the problem. Period.
Somebody texted in, what's the Panamera? Oh, I know. It's a four-door 911.
It's not a Porsche. It's not. It's got the body of an Audi A6. It's got the frame of an Audi A6, and they put Porsche badging on it. It's not a Porsche. It's got four doors. And if you own one of those, you're the problem. I'm very passionate about this.
Yeah, it seems.
Again, you don't want me to be in charge because there's a lot of things that would change.
Okay, there's a lot of things I don't want you to be in charge
I don't
of.
care.
Okay?
I don't care. Right? We can talk about personal choice, but there's some rights that you obviously don't have this sense. If you're willing to buy a four-door Porsche instead of an Audi A6, you lose your right to make all decisions in the rest of your life. And if you buy a SUV Mustang that's doesn't even put gas in the car, you also lose your right to have any choice. And if you're an adult man and you don't know how to drive a stick, you also lose all of your choice.
If you're an adult, period, and you don't know how to drive a stick, your license should be taken from you.
The only reason I can't say that is because my wife doesn't know how to drive a stick. Which
Well,
is why
my wife knows how.
I'm going to buy in 19 months. Well, your wife is better than mine, apparently. But in 19 months when I own one, it'll be a manual for the very reason she can't drive it.
Well, no, I would definitely, then in your case, you should definitely buy a manual. Oh, yeah, because she can't drive it, I see. Not automatic, a manual, so she can't drive it. That's solid.
Right.
I think that's a solid decision.
I mean, she is not happy that I've made it.
I think that's a solid decision. Solid. Just buy her a new Audi. She'll be fine.
Well, she's got a BMW. I don't know what she needs.
Well, the Bavarian Motor Works, pretty good car. Pretty good car.
It's a great driving car until she crashes. She hit every curb in America. There's not a curb in Ocala that she hasn't touched.
You know the thing that I don't understand how people hit? I saw a guy yesterday hit one, and I saw another car with the sheer markings that they had hit one. I don't understand how so many people scrape down the side of their vehicles the yellow parking poles in parking lots and drive-thrus. I mean, it's a big obelisk that stands about 4 or 5 foot tall. It's about 10 to 12 inches around. How the hell are you missing that and you get so close that you tear the side of your car up?
That's pretty good. Come on, that's pretty good right there.
I just don't understand how people do it. I came out of a place yesterday. There was a car backed up, bumper, touching the light pole in the parking lot. I'm like, what the hell would you do that for? And you know that they didn't just lightly tap it. You know, some moron, the light pole probably rocked. It's like the story I heard on the news this morning. The guy that got pulled over and arrested because he was driving from the big box store, and he had a little car, and he got arrested for hitting other people. He actually hit signs, hit a person, hit 2 cars. He had 12-foot pressure-treated 2x12s, and they wouldn't. He only had a car, so he laid them through the back window with about 3 foot sticking out each side, and was hitting people and cars and everything. And I'm like, did he have red flags on each end? If he did, he's perfectly legal, isn't he? As long as he had red flags. I didn't see. If he had red flags, isn't that legal?
Was he driving with his hazards on, and it was raining?
No, then he should go to jail. If you're driving with your hazards on in the rain, I think you should. I'm not saying that you should ever get beat down at a traffic stop, unless you're driving with your hazards on in the rain. Then okay, I'm okay with a beat down at a traffic stop.
That's awesome.
I'm just okay with it.
That's awesome.
I mean, by a show of hands here in the studio, how many of you ride around with your hazards on in the rain? Exactly. We have smart people in the studio.
Well, if you do, you're a lawbreaker, and you should lose your right to everything.
Yeah,
there are certain things there are certain rules that you get one warning. Right? I believe in getting a warning.
And we just did. Don't ride around with your hazards on in the rain.
If you drive off of the lot of a dealership with a 4-door Porsche, you're going to be stopped and say, sir, you have 2 choices. You can continue with this vehicle and lose your right to vote or interact or participate in all of proper society, or you can drive this monstrosity of a motor.
Let me ask you this. Would I be okay, though, if immediately right before I left the lot, taking the 2 doors off and putting them in the trunk, so then I only have 2 doors?
Yeah, technically I'd be okay with that.
There you go.
If you made it into a sedan, right? If Porsche made the Challenger is a long vehicle.
Yeah.
Right? If you made the Porsche a long vehicle, but it only had 2 doors, well, then you're fitting into my parameter.
All right. So if I take the doors off like a Jeep, I'm good.
Well, I think you're going to look really ridiculous to spend $175,000 on a vehicle that you're not going to have all the doors right.
Okay, let me tell you something.
No,
even if I left the doors on, if I spent $170,000 on a vehicle, I should look ridiculous because I'd be a moron for spending that much money. Anyway, Galen, where's the Bloodmobile today?
A brand new Porsche Pan-America is a lot more than $175,000.
Where's the Bloodmobile today?
Today, Tom, we're out in the shores, so come by and check us out there. But as always, we're right on the boulevard, 1607 East Silver Springs Boulevard, lifesouth.org. I don't care who you vote for. If you own a 4-door Porsche, you are allowed in the blood center. That has been told to me many times. So get out there, give the gift of life, and donate blood.
Galen, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thanks, y'all.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
A federal jury on Monday convicted a New York Police Department veteran, Thomas Webster, of assaulting an officer during January 6, rejecting his claim that he was defending himself. Guilty of 6 charges, the assault charge alone is punishable by up to 20 years in prison.
Chief Justice Roberts is just so upset. I can imagine because he's lost control. People will think, at least, he's lost control of the court.
Constitutional expert Alan Dershowitz on Newsmax overnight. A draft opinion by the Supreme Court poised to overturn the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade case that legalized abortions nationwide was leaked to Politico. Mr. Dershowitz believes a law clerk at the court leaked the document. The document was labeled first draft of the opinion of the court in a case challenging Mississippi's ban on abortion after 15 weeks, a case known as Dobbs v. Jackson's Women's Health Organization. USA Radio News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. It's peanut planting time across the Southeast, and USDA is predicting now that Alabama will be down slightly on their acreage from 185,000 acres last year to 175,000 acres this year. That's 95%. They are underway with their planting. Florida is ahead of everybody, of course, because their season comes in earlier. Florida is expected to plant 160,000 acres. That's down from their 170,000 acres last year. In 2020, they planted 175,000 acres. In Georgia, Georgia's expected to plant 730,000 acres. That's 97% of their previous year. They had 755,000 last year. And the year before that, 810,000 acres. But overall, if you count all the states that are involved, most of them are suffering from a drought conditions at the present time, and many of them have to wait until it rains before they can finish. They are encouraging the growers to use certified seed. These certified seed is approved in the state for their germination and their purity, and you don't want to take any risk when it comes to trying to get a stand on peanuts. There's no more than 2 generations from foundation seed, and the field and the production of the seed facilities have been inspected.
I'm a botanist, I'm a scientist, and an activist. I'm a mechanic, I'm a caretaker, a hay raker, I'm a miller, a tiller, and a grain bin filler. I'm a farmer. But the most important handle I ever had is Dad.
You're a parent first, farmer second. Do all you can to make your farm safe for children. Visit cultivatesafety.org for help protecting the most important thing you will ever raise.
I'm Tyron Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
While we may disagree a lot, we do agree Rural King's our favorite place for spring planting.
Yeah, but we've got to focus. Roses, a couple flats of impatiens, and a spade.
A shovel?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking tiller.
We do not need a tiller.
Wait, a mower. Those new zero turns are sweet.
Focus. Roses, mulch, shovel, impatiens.
Jeez, talk about impatient.
Can I help you?
Yeah, chainsaws.
Let's go.
I'm almost done mowing this section.
Ridiculous.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
We'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine today with a couple of thunderstorms late this afternoon. High today 86 to 88. Then look for an evening thunderstorm. Otherwise partly cloudy tonight, low 68 to 71. Thunderstorm in spots Wednesday morning. Otherwise sunshine and some clouds. High on Wednesday 86 to 89. And mostly sunny Thursday, high 86 to 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Join Gary and Don Crawford of Pinnacle Retirement Advisors for Retirement with Pinnacle, Saturday mornings at 9 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Don't miss Retirement with Pinnacle with Gary and Don Crawford, Saturday mornings at 9. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917. This hour of Ocala Talks is brought to you in part by Blockers Furniture. Go see all their specials at blockersfurniture.com.